How do you build a nuclear bomb in secret? It's a bit like trying to assemble a Death Star in your garage without your neighbors noticing. It requires a singular obsession, a nearly unlimited budget, and a level of deception that would make a spy novelist blush. This is the story of Iraq's nuclear ambition, a 4-decade saga of a bomb that was always just around the corner, yet never quite materialized. It's a tale driven by one man's colossal ego, a spectacular international game of cat and mouse, and a final, shocking twist that changed the world. This is the story of Saddam Hussein's ultimate weapon. Our story begins in the 1970s. The world is in the grip of the Cold War, and in the Middle East, a new power player is rising, Saddam Hussein. He didn't just want to rule Iraq, he wanted to dominate the region. And in his mind, true power came with a mushroom cloud. So, in 1973, he did something unusual for a political leader. He personally took over Iraq's Atomic Energy Commission. This wasn't delegation, this was a hands-on passion project. He immediately went on an international shopping spree. First on the list, France. In 1976, he secured a deal for 2 research reactors. There was the small one, ISIS, and the main event, the 40-megawatt airstrike reactor. Think of it as the engine for his nuclear dream. Saddam wasn't exactly subtle about his intentions. In 1975, he openly called the reactor deal the first Arab attempt at nuclear arming. He was practically shouting his plans from the rooftops of Baghdad. And as it turns out, someone was listening. Announcing your nuclear ambitions in the Middle East is a bold move. It's like poking a bear. In this case, the bear was Israel. With a strict policy of no nukes for our neighbors, Israel watched Saddam's project with growing alarm. They decided that waiting for an invitation to the party was not an option. So, on June 7, 1981, they sent one of their own. In a stunning surprise airstrike codenamed Operation Opera, Israeli jets flew hundreds of miles, undetected, and delivered a payload that turned the heart of Saddam's nuclear program into a smoldering ruin. The reactor was gone before it ever went live. The world was outraged. The UN condemned the attack. But Saddam learned a valuable, if painful, lesson. It wasn't, don't build a bomb. It was, don't get caught building a bomb. His ambition didn't die in the flames of airstrike. It just went underground. The 1980s. While the world was distracted by neon clothes and bad hair, Iraq was building a secret empire. Having failed with the plutonium route, Saddam pivoted. The new plan was a covert uranium enrichment program. And this is where the money started to flow. An estimated $10 billion was poured into the nuclear program. The main project, a massive effort using something called electromagnetic isotope separation, or EMIS, cost $5 billion alone. To put that in perspective, that's more than the entire GDP of some countries at the time. This wasn't a small operation. At its peak, 7,000 people were working on the project, including hundreds of Iraq's brightest scientists. They were building a parallel state, a secret world of centrifuges and calculations, all hidden from view. Then, just before the invasion of Kuwait in 1990, panic set in. Saddam knew a clash with the West was coming. He initiated a desperate last-ditch crash program. The goal? To frantically extract enough weapons-grade uranium from the fuel of his old research reactors to build a single, crude nuclear device. He hoped to have it ready by 1991, but time ran out. The bomb wasn't ready, and then the world came knocking. After the 1991 Gulf War, the UN Security Council passed Resolution 687. This wasn't just a ceasefire, it was a warrant. It unleashed the IAEA and UNSCM, the world's nuclear detectives, with a mandate to find and dismantle every last piece of Saddam's WMD programs. And so began one of the most intense games of cat and mouse in history. Iraq played a masterful game of deception. They denied, they delayed, they concealed. Inspectors would show up to a site only to find it suspiciously clean. Documents would disappear. Key equipment would be buried in the desert. The IAEA was at a huge disadvantage. How do you find a secret you don't even know exists? The answer came from the inside. High-level defectors began to talk. The most famous was High General Hussein Kamel, Saddam's own son-in-law, who fled in 1995. He, along with nuclear scientist Hidar Hamza, laid the secrets bare. They revealed the EMIS program, the weaponization research, and the failed crash program. Armed with this new intel, the inspectors went to work. They dismantled facilities, shipped out nuclear material, and destroyed equipment. By 1997, for all practical purposes, Iraq's nuclear weapons capability had been eliminated. The case, it seemed, was closed. But then, in 1998, Saddam kicked the inspectors out. For 4 years, the world went dark. This was the inspection gap. No eyes on the ground, no verification, just grainy satellite photos and whispers from informants. This void was a breeding ground for fear. Without inspectors to provide facts, speculation took over. Did he rebuild? Is he hiding something? The narrative of a resurgent Iraqi nuclear threat began to take hold, a narrative that had profound consequences. By late 2002, the drums of war were beating. The inspectors were finally allowed back in, but the clock was ticking. For 3 months, they scoured the country, visiting old sites and new, chasing down leads. The world waited. On March 7, 2003, just days before the U.S.-led invasion, IAEA Director General Mohammed al-Baradei stood before the UN Security Council to deliver his verdict.
There it was. After years of work, the program had been dismantled and had not been restarted. Later, after the invasion, the CIA's own Iraq survey group came to the exact same conclusion. Saddam wanted to restart his program one day, but he hadn't. The great irony of the Iraq War is that it was launched to stop a nuclear program that, according to the world's best experts, no longer existed. So, what is the legacy of Saddam's phantom bomb? Even after the program was dismantled, the knowledge remained. As Kabir Hamza warned, Iraq retained the intellectual capital, the scientists, and the blueprints. With the right materials, they could have rebuilt. Today, the Iraqi government is working to decommission these hazardous old sites, a process expected to last until 2025, finally closing the book on this chapter. The story of Iraq's nuclear program is more than just history. It's a powerful lesson. It shows the incredible effectiveness of robust, on-the-ground inspections. It demonstrates that when international experts are allowed to do their job, they can find the truth. But it also serves as a chilling warning. When those eyes are removed, when we are left blind, the vacuum is quickly filled with fear, speculation, and narratives that can lead nations down the path to war. The biggest lesson? Inspections work, and they are irreplaceable. What do you think is the most surprising part of this story? Let us know in the comments below. And for more witty dives into complex history, make sure you subscribe to Witty. Thanks for watching.